this stitching clinic at Granny's Legacy Patterns, we will be featuring our wheat ear stitch. And it's this pale teal stitch here and a darker teal here. And it's called the wheat ear stitch. And it is lovely enhancement for the embroidery on this project. And this project is called Whimsy. And it can be made into a pillow or into a mat or a mini quilt, but it features the wheat ear stitch. So today we will demo that. And so I have Valdani Pearl Cotton size 12 here, and I chose a really pretty yummy yellow variegated. And when threading your needle, we're using the size 7 embroidery needles. So any brand that you love, we like the size 7. It has a smaller eye. It's easy to stitch with, great on hands that are a little bit arthritic. And I always try to stick with a length of thread about 18 to 24 inches, 24 maybe. And I always knot at the end that came off of the ball, and I come out of the center of the ball of thread. So we've got a knot here at the end, and you can see many of our tutorials we talk about the quilter's knot. So that's something. We also like to use thread wax to condition our thread, and this is Granny's Threadtastic. This one just happens to be strawberry and sunshine. We have bee, natural, lavender, all kinds. So several different varieties of thread wax, but you just pull it through a little bit to get your thread. It will keep your thread from shredding or tangling, and just makes it nicer stitching. So I'm going to draw my wheat ear stitch with a Bowen Iron Off pen, and it's a white pen, a white wax pen, and this one happens to be empty. Bowen Iron Off pen. So it's a white pen, and you can just draw your stitch out. And I think I like a stitch that looks about like that. So very light hand, and because it's wax, we're going to give it a second to dry. These pens are wonderful. You can use them to sign your work. If you wanted to embroider your initials on the bottom, you can use it to write your initials and then embroider over that. If it doesn't turn out the way you like it, a warm iron just disappears. So I let it dry for 1 second, and now we'll begin the wheat ear stitch. Now, one thing to keep in mind on the wheat ear stitch is if you need to add some diagonals to keep your pieces at the same angle, it wouldn't hurt until you get to be efficient or really proficient, I should say, at your project. But sometimes it's very nice to add that to get you going in the right direction. That way all of your stitching, all of these little stitches that come out here are all parallel. So we're going to begin with the first stitch is just a V. So you come up on the left and go down on the right on your V, and then come up in the center on your center spine. And it's like an open lazy daisy. So you make your V stitch just like that and go down right near where you came up to connect, to tack that V down. So you make a perfect V. That's all there is to it. Now if you know how to do a chain stitch, we come down to the next one. And we're going to go underneath the 2 arms and just make a lazy daisy. And down. So you have a V-stitch and a lazy daisy, and now you know how to do it all. So we'll continue on. The next one is a V-stitch. So up on the left, down on the right, and up on your spine. And that's just at the tip of your chain. Pull it to be just the right snugness and tack it down. So we've got V, chain, the next one is a chain. So you come down to the next point. And now, once we get started, all of the chains are going to go under the previous chain. So I flip my needle around and use the eye so I don't snag my thread. So you go underneath the previous chain. So you just wiggle your eye. So we're on top of the 2 V stitches and underneath the previous chain. So the first one is the only one that connects to the V's. The rest are all going to be, the chain is going to be on the chain. So down, and it lays right on top of that V stitch, and it gives it a nice layering, a nice effect. So chain, the next stitch will be V. So up on the left, down on the right, up in the spine, and tack. So we did a V stitch, the next stitch is going to be your chain stitch. So we come up on the spine, and then switch to the eye, right underneath of the previous chain, on top of the V's. So your needle is under the chain but on top of the V. And back down. We'll do one more set. So up on the left, down on the right, up on the spine, and a little tacking stitch. Then we want to add a chain to that. So skip down to the next joint, and using your eye, you come underneath of the chain but on top of the V, and come around and down. So that is the lovely wheat ear stitch. Now this is done quite large, so the camera could pick it up. On our project, I'll bring it over here, we have done it quite a bit smaller, and we've curved it around, and it just, because the chain lays on top, it gives it such a wonderful dimension. A wonderful project and a fun stitch to try. So thank you for joining us at Granny's Legacy Patterns Stitching School.